From Ix Art Park in Charlottesville, Virginia, I'm Jovina. This is the Daily Creature. Folks, welcome and thanks for joining us. We are still underwater here on the Daily Creature. That's right, still living the life aquatic. We are focused this week on creatures of the water, aquatic creatures and semi-aquatic creatures. And friends, if you consider just how much of the world is water, quite a lot of the world, quite a lot of the earth is made up of water, more and more all the time. Well, you have to consider then how many creatures there are living in and around that water, how many aquatic and semi-aquatic creatures. Then perhaps you can imagine the difficulty I face in choosing a creature for a program. And you know, we only have 5 slots this week to give to our lovely aquatic creatures. So I'm going through this dilemma, and something happened at home. I am exiting a room, and my son Henry says, "See you later, alligator." And I say, "Of course." After a while, crocodile. And then it hits me. Hippopotamus is the perfect creature for today. I love hippopotamus. They're strange, they're large, they're absolutely amphibious. That is, they need the water to live. They live within and near the water. So I figure let's jump into some research right away. Let's know a little bit more about the hippopotamus. And I hit up Simon and Schuster, right? And I'm going through here, and this is something about the hippopotamus behavior. The hippopotamus is well adapted to amphibious life. It spends most of its time submerged in water. It emerges at sundown to feed on the grassy plains along the riverbank. It swims well, okay? It swims well. Simon and Schuster in 82. And then this from the San Diego Zoo. Hippos move easily through the water, but cannot actually swim. They are simply pushing off from places and gliding through the water. That's what the San Diego Zoo says. So right away, I like this hippo. Controversy, okay? Let's talk etymology for a moment. Etymology is, of course, the study of the word, right? The origin of the word. Where does the word hippopotamus, what a wonderful word, where does it come from? It's Greek. Hippos, meaning horse. That's the first root. Hippos, horse. And the second root, potamos, river horse. Now, to be fair, and the horse community, I think, is very clear on this, there is no relation whatsoever between hippos and horses. They are not closely related. Hippo's closest cousin is the pig, as far as my research has told me. So, fun stuff, interesting stuff. What's a group of hippos called? Well, you can call it a school. You can call it a pod. Those are fair and correct. You can also call it a bloat. I like that. A bloat of hippos or a siege of hippos. And if you're taking that cruise down the river and you see a group of hippos coming toward you, I would call that a siege of hippos for sure. A siege of hippos. Interesting, fun, groups of hippos. Friends, now that we have some information going, let's take that inspiration, that information, and let's jump right into our art projects. Clayquarium, part 3. And for those of you perhaps just joining us, Clayquarium, parts 1 and 2 happened during episodes 6 and 7 of the show. And here's part 3 of Clayquarium. And let's grab that Clayquarium. Here it is. We've got the box top, of course, which we filled, wayward rock, we'll stick that back in there, which we filled the bottom here with a bit of clay, stuck in a bunch of rocks. We've got our plastic plants. Yesterday's octopus. I like the look of the blue paint on our purplish paper, which is ultimately will be taped probably in the back there, but I don't mind the buckling when it gets kind of bubbly there. I have an array of clay colors here that we will use today to add a few bits and bobs, as they say, to our Clayquarium. We could use some fish, just straight up fish. Friends, I'm afraid that the fish has perhaps not gotten its due really this week in our aquatic creature week here at the Daily Creature. We're going to make our fish rather small compared to the octopus. I've got a little chunk of orange clay and a little chunk of green clay. What I would like to do is add some smaller fish in and around the Clayquarium, maybe some more up top. imagine this is kind of a picture, right? And you want to compose your picture. So adding some life here and here, that's what we're going for. And we're going to try some little fish. And if we can get through those, we may just add a little clay hippo to our clay aquarium as well, because why not, right? So let's start with the orange. We'll set it aside. I'm going to make 3 little orange fish. And folks, I'm going to keep it simple. And you know what? They're going to be straight up orange fish. They're not going to be clownfish. So don't be disappointed when they don't become clownfish. I've rolled my clay, as you can see, into that worm shape, and I'm breaking it into 3 even-sized pieces. And I'll start with one of these pieces, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to get it on a little tiny bit of a roll like that to create a sort of a teardrop shape. And let's do that with all 3 of our pieces here. Let's do that with all 3 of our pieces and create little teardrop shapes. Okay? We've got our teardrops, and even now I'm starting to kind of press them in slightly flat against our table. Can you already see sort of the fish shape, what's happening here? I'm going to take the tip of my finger, friendos, and press flat, but not too flat, on each back of the tail here. And the only tool we're going to pull out today will be this sharp pencil, which I'm just going to take the pencil and I'm going to use it as I would a knife tool. Is it as effective as a knife tool? It's not. I'll be frank with you, friends, it's not. But it does create a separation there that I can then go in with my fingers and work out the fishy, fishy fish tail. Make sense? Now, even just by doing this, we get a fish shape that, pop it in there and the point gets across. But hey, the devil's in the details, as they say. So let's get those details going. I'm going to go ahead and another way you could do the tail, you don't need the pencil, just be nimble with those pincher fingers and go in and impress a little dent on that tail piece first, and then pull out those bits and gently flatten them, make them pointy. Fish tail. And I do want this fish to resemble, to a certain degree, the fish that came before it. These guys are of the same species. You may ask, what species of fish is that? To which I would tell you this is just a general fish. Right now it looks like Pepperidge Farm's goldfish. So we can do a little more detail than that, I think. But there we go. 3 basic fish shapes. I would like to add a couple of things. We're going to keep these fish super simple. But I need to borrow a little orange clay. I used up all of my orange clay here. I'm just going to steal. I have a lump sitting on the side. I'm going to steal a little bit more orange. And I'm going to break teeny tiny bit. And a big important element for the fish was lips. And I take that little worm shape and I fold it over, creating a kind of almost looks like a mouth already. And then I'm going to take that, I'm going to grab my fish, I'm going to lay on the lips and wrap them around so I get a little mouth for my fishy. And repeat. Repeat. Why don't we bring our shot in just a little closer here, and we'll bring those fish up just a bit so you can get a slightly better look at our fishies. And I'm rolling out the mouth for this fish here. And popping it on. There we go. And I'm going to do one more fish mouth. Flip that around like so. And get it on my fish face. There we go. Makes sense? Now, I have a teeny tiny bit of orange left. I'm going to roll up little tiny flat bits that can be used like fins. So I can hang a little fin off of my fish, like an arm, right? It's not really an arm, it's a fin. But if you attempted to, meet a fish, greet a fish, if you stuck out your hand to shake the fish's hand, so to speak, he or she's probably going to stick out their fin. That's going to make the most sense. Of course, these days, you would maybe just touch elbows with the fish. Fin bows. I'm going to press in that last fin there. Here we are. So, they've got lips. They've got fins. I'm going to go in with trusty old sharp pencil here. You know what? Before I do, we're talking about eyes now, friends. I'm going to take a little bit of this green that I set aside. I'm going to roll little tiny ball shapes of green, and I'm going to pop them onto kind of the corner of my fish's mouth, somewhere around there. These are not the eyes, but these are where I will place the eyes. And by adding that bit of green, I've essentially created a little sort of a rim around the eye, an eyelid. And then I'm going to go in with my pencil, you can guess, and gently roll out a little hole. And rinse and repeat, yeah? Roll out a hole here. We are creating eye sockets, fish eye sockets. And one more there. And there we go. Friends, you can't see it now because I adjusted our shot, but here's some white clay and some black clay. And we're going to go for the old favorite, fairly simple, you could call it a cartoon eye. I'm starting with, get out of here, orange. I'm starting with some white. I roll up a ball of white. I pop it into the hole that I've made for the fish eye. Right in that green, if you end up with a piece that's too large to fit in the hole, or a hole that's too small to accommodate the piece, well, simply make the necessary adjustments. You are in control of your work. Say it, friends. I am in control of my work. It's my project. So take control, right? And I said my project. It's your project. That's the way you should be thinking. But you would say to yourself, hey, it's my project. Guys, when you get to the black, which is going to go inside the white, you want to make absolutely certain that you have a piece that is small enough to fit in there. I can't say it enough, dudes. Practicing these small pieces is important. I've rolled up that tiny bit of black. I'm setting it on there. It's not quite there yet. I'm going to press it on to be flat. And you get that fish eye. And you know what? I'm going to call that a fish. I like where we are with that fish. So, again, teeny tiny bitsy bits, and pop it on your fishy fish. And the eye really does, to a certain degree, complete the fish. Now, you might be looking at that fish and saying, Joe, you could go further. That's no complete fish. And you know what? You might be right. We could go further. But in this case, I'm liking where we are. With the simplicity of these creatures, they have a certain charm. And we're going to bring it back out a bit here and bring our fishies down. Our clay aquarium back into view. Let's place our fishies here, maybe. And here. And maybe another one here. And they're passing through. They could go lower. Why don't we get them down into the plants? What's fun about the plants is we can kind of lift up these plants and set them in and among, set our fish rather, in and among the plants. And that gives us a certain sense of depth, I think. You know? Oh, that paper's buckling up now. I don't know why. Must be where we put our fish. For now, I'll take a little bit of white clay here and pop it on the end and just set it there. That should help us for now. And there's our fishies are in and around the plants. I'm liking that. So let's get our clay aquarium out of the way. Let's grab this piece of kind of a light tan sort of clay. That's the color we're going to use for our hippopotamus. Is it accurate? Naturally speaking, well, I think it'll work. I'm doing a flat hand, fingers together, friends, and I'm rolling out that kind of a oval shape like so. And I get those pincher fingers going. I'm going to pop off a little bit here. Not too much. I'm saving that for the hippo legs. And I'm going to work out this hippo body and head. I get the old pincher fingers going. And I'm going to start to pinch a neck one way and the other way. Keep in mind, friends, that that hippo has a pretty big head. Don't believe me? Let's check a reference. And where did that reference go? Here it is. Have a look here at our hippo. Large head. Kind of difficult to see this image, but there's a hippo underwater, swimming or not swimming, kind of walking on the bottom. That's a pygmy hippopotamus. So two different types. You have your standard hippopotamus and then the pygmy hippopotamus. Two different species. Super cool. But the idea here, folks, is that we get that head pretty large, that neck, and then I'm, again, consider, well, we'll leave this guy kind of here. Consider the posturing that's going to happen within our clay aquarium. So I do that kind of flat bottom to my hippo. And grab that sharp pencil, because again, we're not working necessarily with a major tool today, but I am going to take that pencil and kind of make a divot up into maybe there. Gently drag the point, pinch around a bit, bring it back up. Create that hippo mouth, you know. Does that make sense? The mouth is important. We'll get in there right away. I'm going to just edge in a bit with my point, press in there again. I'm going to right away steal a teeny little ball shape from this, and I'm going to add it here to my hippo face and smooth it. Big, heavy, strong jaw on that hippo. Yeah. Back of the hippo, pinch your fingers. You know how it goes. I'm just going to work out a teeny tiny hippo tail. Nothing much to write home about. Same pincher fingers I'll employ to create 1 and 2 little ears on the back of the head there. Like so. That makes sense? Some hippo ears. Now, I would like to go back and borrow from this small piece yet again. And remember, this is all we have for legs too, so I'm trying to save as much as I can there, but I'm going to take a little ball shape and add it here and smooth it in for my hippo's eye. We know it has that raised eye and nostril as well for when it comes up to the surface of the water, and like an alligator or a crocodile, it just wants to kind of keep its face out to see what's happening. And you know, because of the side that we're seeing of the hippo and where the hippo plays into our clay aquarium, I'm not going to worry about the other side. He's almost treating him like a refrigerator magnet for the project that he's a part of. That side it's not going to come into play, so I'm not going to spend time on it. Friends, take that small bit, roll it out, little worm shape. How many legs on a hippo? If you said 4, you got it. In many and most cases, I split that piece in half and I split the halves in half to create quarters. 4 pieces, the same size. Let's bring it in a bit. Each of these pieces I'm going to, probably 1 or 2 fingers will do it, roll out little worm shapes. Little worm shapes. Once you have 4 of those little worm shapes, you can choose which ones you stick to the front and the back of the hippo, so to speak. I'm going to flatten just slightly, and I'm going to press into the back of my hippo, actually, and give it a little smooth. And that will appear, depth-wise, to be the back leg, the leg that's further back. And technically it's a front leg, sorry, but it's the leg that's further from us in the clay aquarium. I'm afraid I'm not fully making sense, but you get the idea, or you don't. We'll move on. These legs, I'll press in. They're closer to our viewer, and I'll smooth it to create a little shoulder. And I'm doing the same on the back of the hippo as well. And I'm pressing it and I'm smoothing it. Now, once you have these pieces in, you can use the pencil to roll out a bit and create a bit more of a line or a contour by the leg and the shoulder. You know, the eraser can be used as well to do a little smoothing. Clay tools are everywhere, friends. So we're pretty close with this hippo. I want to get his legs kind of looking swimmy, looking like he's sort of trying to push through the water there. He's about to meet his new roommate, his clayquarium mate, the octopus. But before he does, I would like to give him an eye. And we're going to go, same as we did with the octopus, with some of these lovely beads here. Friends, you could do a clay eye, just as I did with the fish earlier. But in this case, I poured way too many beads. We just need the one. Conserve your beads. Get them back in there. In this case, we're going to use a bead for the eye. And one will do it. So, let's see if I can pick up the bead with the point of the pencil. And I'm just going to pop it in to that place that I designated for the eye. I'm going to bring it up close. Ooh, he's got a kind of a menacing look, doesn't he? I'm going to borrow just a little bit of hippo clay from the rump of my hippo. I'm going to roll out the tiniest little worm shape you've ever seen, and I'm going to lay it up on that eyelid and get him looking a bit more kind and sympathetic, bringing it back a bit. Isn't it funny how that works? He doesn't look nearly as mean now. He looks jolly, sort of, I suppose. And maybe I'll go in and just do teeny tiny little sort of specks on the front of the face there for our hippo as well. And I think this hippo is ready for the clayquarium. So here we go. Let's grab our aquarium here, set it up. Hippo, hippo, where will you go? Pop him in there. And it's getting crowded in this clay aquarium. And I might just adjust him a bit. He's dove into the water and he's kind of going down, maybe toward the fish. Anyway, there you have it, further adventures with your clay aquarium. And friends, everything here that I've suggested, it's all fine and good, but I bet you have a clay aquarium in front of you now. I hope you do. I hope you're working on one. Have those ideas for yourself. Have your own ideas. Throw them in there. Do new things. Add more plants, less plants, rocks, more fish, the shark, the dolphin, whatever you want to put into your clay aquarium, you can. We will come back to the clay aquarium tomorrow, but gosh, I'm wondering what else we can do because it's getting kind of crowded. Drives me crazy sometimes. Guy I work with, Myron, you may have seen him around, sharp teeth, kind of furry, sort of dead eyes, like no soul in the eyes kind of eyes. Nice guy, well-meaning, but he really gets on my nerves. And one thing that he does, he cleans up the area and things go missing, you know? He organizes it, right? Anyway, I can't find my scissors, and I'd like them for the next project. And that's what is frustrating me, so I'm trying to keep my temper in check. You know who has a really rough temper? Hippopotamus. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hippopotamus are fairly dangerous creatures. And, well, here's the thing. It's kind of grim. But look into it if you'd like to. The dangers that hippos pose to people in Africa when they come across each other. And the temper that the hippo has, in particular when it's young, is concerned in protecting its family. Hippos can be pretty nasty. So you look into it. Look up hippos, danger. You got the books. You got the computers. You can do it. You can do it. Find out more about how dangerous that hippo is because of that temper. I'm feeling better just talking about the hippo's temper. I just wish I could find the scissors, you know? I don't want to do the bit without the scissors. It's going to be a really cool sort of a paper project where we basically cut parts of a hippo out and put a hippo together. But I need the scissors. Don't start the project. I need the scissors. Hippopotamus, an exercise in improvisation and adaptation. Friends, with my scissors missing, I have only the paper and a pencil to work with. Here is said pencil, and here is said paper. 2 sheets. I was going to cut my hippopotamus pieces out of these 2 sheets, a darker pink and a lighter pink. But now without the scissors, I have only my hands to rip pieces of paper, shapes to put back together, almost like a collage, my hippopotamus. I'm going to put my hippopotamus together with ripped pieces of paper. I'll do a little bit of drawing first, and I'll work with a reference. Why not? Here we go. A lovely hippopotamus picture. Look at our shapes right here. I mean, this is basically what we're talking about. I'm going to do one probably big ripped piece for the body, 4 leg pieces, and maybe something big for the head and the neck there. And again, my initial plan was to draw and cut, but now I'm improvising a bit. I'm adapting to the situation. My plan involved scissors. There are no scissors. What does it mean, friends? Change your plan. Change your plan. So I think I'm going to start with the lighter pink, and I think I'm going to give myself a big sort of oval shape for that body, kind of a guideline. And I've made that line. Now I'm going to rip along its edge and trying to follow and use my finger to sort of stop it. I'm ripping and ripping. Maybe I'll get rid of that piece entirely. Let's have a closer look. So it's not a very clean edge, is it? But I don't mind the ripped edge so much. I kind of like it. So I'm going to keep going here. And I'm ripping in the shape of the oval. And, you know, ripping is a lot like cutting. You don't quite have the same control again, but I'm going to try and continue to rip in one direction too so I get that lovely shreddy paper look. Ripping, 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 ripping. Okay, I'm slightly encouraged. Maybe this isn't as crazy as I thought it would be. Oh, I kind of like that side of it too. And I kind of like that direction. I'm going to put my head somewhere in here, legs coming off of the bottom. Let's see here. Well, I have this darker pink. I'd love to use the darker pink to create the 2 legs that are going to go behind my hippo. You know, we're talking about a leg back here. It's going to be kind of like that. And then there's going to be another leg back here. I'll put it kind of like that. These are guidelines, these little drawings. And I think what I'll do right away is rip just down this piece of paper right in half. I only need these pieces here, and I'm going to go ahead and rip that foot. Rip that foot. Hippopotamus. I think the hippopotamus might just work. Who knows? Here's the thing, friends. When you find yourself in a strange place with a project and you're going, I don't know if it's going to work, you're just there. You're stuck in that moment. You don't know if it's going to work. Sometimes you can't know until you finish. I've got a bit of a mess in my workstation. Can't have that. So I'm going to pull aside my scraps for a moment, and I'm going to take count of where I am project-wise. I got the hippo body, right? And I've got the back legs. And I think I had a back leg maybe this way. Kind of like that as one of our back legs. And maybe I'll do this one this way. There we go. Yeah. And I'm going to further adjust my piece here on my hippopotamus to be a little flatter. So that foot appears to be meeting the ground in a way that makes sense. Okay. Now I'm going to deal with the front legs, and I think I'll go back to our regular shade of pink here, and this time I'm feeling confident in my ripping ability, so I'm going to take a look at the shape that I think I need, and I'm going to try and rip without drawing. I'm going to essentially let my drawing be what I'm ripping with my fingers. I'm going to go a little higher on this leg because it actually, it's going to come up into a kind of a shoulder on our hippo, I think. And I'm going to do a little more ripping here. And I'm going to round off the top a bit, round it off a bit, maybe reduce its size a bit. And I'm going to see if I can put it in here, be that front leg, maybe even right there. Interesting. And I'm going to get this other leg going as well. Same idea. I'm just going to kind of wing it a bit without drawing any lines. I'm just going to see if I can work out my leg, my hippo leg, my rippo leg. I went a little thinner there than I wanted to, but maybe that's okay. And again, no matter what, you learn. You learn and you learn. I'd love to get slightly darker underneath my hippo too, to denote a kind of a shadow. So I might grab a bit more of this darker pink again, measure out how much I need. And friends, again, I'm just going to wing it here. And this is going to be an opportunity to make a slightly larger belly for my hippo. Ooh boy. Okay, let's see. I'm going to then, I think, echo that roundness on the bottom of this piece up in the top. So it does have a sense of fitting in to the shape I already have going with my hippo body. I'm going to remove these legs briefly, and I'm going to get this piece in here. I can live with that, something like that. This seems a little big, so I'm going to rip that off. Maybe fold it in a bit. There we go. I'm going to lay these pieces back like so. And let's see where we are. I want this one to be a bit skinnier, so I'm going to just pull it in a bit. Okay. Get this guy here. Interesting. All right. How about a tail? Oh my goodness gracious me. I think this piece will work perfectly. What I would maybe do is just add a little tuft of the darker pink to the other side, and that's going to go in here. There is a very popular, wonderful children's book illustrator and author who uses this style quite a bit, I believe, the ripped paper collage style. Is it a collage? Technically, I don't believe this is a collage. Could be. What's missing? Well, how about a head? Let's get a head going. And then we'll discuss how we adhere these things together. That is, how we stick the whole thing together. Now, I'm going to stick with our lighter pink for the head. And I think I'm going to keep right on going with the kind of ripping it and seeing what happens. I'm going to go with a big sort of a lump here. Now, not bad. I mean, I think it's there. I think we just need to now find that shape. We need to sort of rip it out. And I am going to go back with a pencil because, hey, I can. And I'm going to kind of just show where I want to keep paper versus where I might want to rip it a bit. Does that make sense, what I've just done? Let's see. I can't even tell you if it makes sense. Ooh, I wish I had some scissors. But if I had scissors now, I still think I'd keep ripping because no matter where this hippopotamus ends up, I like this challenge. It is not just good, friends, it is imperative. It is important that you challenge yourselves as artists. If you love drawing creepy little baby birds, let's say, I love drawing creepy little baby birds. But it's not all I draw. If it became the only thing I ever drew and I never challenged myself beyond creepy little baby birds, well, everyone knows what happens. I turn into a creepy baby bird. JK, which stands for just kidding, of course. What happens is maybe my work gets stale. Maybe I stop enjoying it because I realize that all I ever do is the same thing. Challenge yourself. That's all I'm saying. See, I'm rounding that face out a bit. I want to go in here and kind of rip into the head. And you know what I might do is, I'm not going to worry about the ear yet. Not going to worry about the ear yet when we get that head on there. We're getting there. Hippopotamus, you're coming along. Now, I'm going to go a little, well, I kind of like that. There's a big fat roll on the neck there, so we'll leave that kind of like that. Good. Okay. Now, I think what I'll do is create a lower jaw with the darker pink. I'm just going to grab me some of that pink. Here we have it. And I'm going around here. I'm winging it. I'm back to winging it. Big, heavy lower jaw that'll come down into the mouth right here. This is what I'm going for, something like that. Trying to keep it round. It's tough to rip in a completely round fashion, you know, and not get jagged, so to speak. Okay. Yeah, something like that. And let's see. Kind of liking that. I'm liking where we're going with that. Let's see if I have an earpiece ready to go. I think I might. And I might go just a little bigger than the hippo ears tend to appear in nature. Just a bit. So I want you to really see that that is in fact the ear. Maybe that one goes behind and that one there up in front. And you know, right away, I know what you're saying. Joe, do the ear on the other side of the head in the darker pink. Come on, man. You set a precedent. Stick to it. So right, I think that helps. This ear is a bit in shadow because it's further back. That's why we use the darker pink. This is not necessarily further back, but it's lower. And I think it's nice. It helps with the features of our hippo to see right there. Let's do a little bit here for the eye, like that. I don't know if that's the end all and be all of the eye. It'd be nice to have something else to add in the middle there. I wonder. Well, friends, before we get to the eye, let's talk about adhering these. You could use a little tape, but here's what I'm going to suggest for you. And I don't know if you have one of these around, but they're pretty great. It's a glue stick. I don't love these for everything, but for something like a Hippopotamus, oh yeah, hugely helpful. I think we can get that reference out of the way, and let's gently move this Hippopotamus in all of its parts up here. And now, check it out, dudes. What we're going to do is get rid of all of the legs for a moment, even the head. I want to focus, first thing is first, I want to focus on that darker spot, the underbelly, so to speak. Your standard glue stick is solid. It goes right on like roll-on deodorant. There we go. Once I've laid down the glue, I'm going to take it and, or rather take my other piece, and I'm just going to stick it on there, tamp it down with my fingers, and rather instantly, seamlessly connected, except for that part there that's not connected. And I see why that is. It's a little folded over a little bit more. Now, there may be a temptation to glue stick everywhere and figure, I can stick pieces on anywhere now. And I wouldn't recommend that. It can get dirty really fast. And suddenly things are sticking that you don't want sticking. Friends, next bit we're going to add is these darker pieces, the darker legs. And I am going to, in the spirit of planning, because just because we're improvising, and just because we're adapting doesn't mean that we can't be planning all through the process and kind of thinking things through. Even as you get new rules, new circumstances, you can continue to plan. Stay on your feet and be on the fly. Yep, good, like it, okay. So let's set these guys back for a moment. Let's flip this over here. Let's do a little glue. And using my memory here, I'm thinking it's about there that went. And then the same for this guy here. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, not too much, and boom. And I kind of want to see that the legs are roughly at the same level, because they are, or rather should be, even as the legs on the other side, the front and back legs on the other side of our hippo. Now we focus on the front side of the hippo. I like that this thigh kind of, you know what I'm going to do here? I like this look here, but I want to flatten that foot out a bit more. I want it to make a little more sense in terms of the way the hippo is standing. So I have just ripped that foot a bit so that it makes sense to set it on this angle, but that it's flat and matches the other feet and comes just a little bit further than this foot here. I'm going to move that down, grab the other foot, make sure we're in good shape here. I like that. I like where we're going. And let's glue it. I'm just going to, even holding it right there, hit it with a little spot of glue. And your glue can always be adjusted as you need to adjust. You can always add more if you need to. It's tough to add less, of course, or to remove it once you've stuck something. But it's not super glue, It can be moved slightly. It can be ripped off and re-glued, as you can see. Get a little more there, and then just press, and you can even use your pencil to kind of flatten that bit. And here we go. I'm going to knock out this tail. While we're here, this was the tail piece initially, and I'm going to just even swipe that bit right on the glue stick, and then go to my hippo rump and stick it on there, pinch it for a moment with those pincher fingers. And then I've got this little tuft of purple I'm going to swipe that, or dark pink, purple pink. And I'm going to stick that on there, make sure it's sticking only to my tail and not to my table. Let's get this head back in here. Here we go. And I kind of want to adjust and put our head down a bit in hippo fashion, hippo form. Something like that. Not bad. Maybe even further down. Something like this. Yeah. So for a moment, why don't we just focus on getting the head parts together? And I'm going to go ahead and do a little swipe of glue along the bottom of this guy. I take this smaller, lighter piece of paper, darker in color, but lighter in weight, not by much, of course, but and just stick it on there. There we go. There we go. And I just want the littlest bit of a rip, a little divot for the mouth there. I think that'll work. I think that will work. And also, as I look at this tiny little, call it a last minute change, I want to bring a deeper sense of the face there that comes up to a slightly more pronounced nose, and then pop it on there. The Hippopotamus is coming along. Folks, I do see an area that I'd like to add just the slightest amount of paper here, kind of continuing here along the neck. Something like this, I think, should work. Is that working? Does that work? Yeah, I think that works. Just to sort of continue slightly from the shadow of that lower jaw. Added just a bit of that glue stick, pop it on there, stick it on there. That does not, of course, stick it directly to the neck yet, but we're getting there. Let's deal with the ears. The slightly darker back ear, I'm going to add that first, and I think we will do a little planning and placement. I think I'll do the front ear, rather the ear that's closest to us further back. The ear that's further away we'll put further up on the head, if that makes any sense. I'm going to grab this piece, just swipe a little bit, and stick it on there. I've got the other piece, and swipe it, and stick it on. Now, we're getting close. I would say we're nearly there. I'm going to go ahead and get us glued right here, and I'm going to pop that head on. The placement of the head is important to me. I want to get it right. I want it to make sense. Here we go. And I did have a little bit I stuck in there for the eye. We're going to put that, actually this was my eyepiece here. I'm going to put that there. There goes my glue stick. And tell you what I'm going to do. I recommend continuing with the, well, you know what, let's do it. We're not going to use any pencil on this. The only dark bits we'll use will be from the paper. So we're going to stick to these new rules. Everything's ripped, and everything is either the dark or the light paper. I've taken just the littlest bit of darker paper and put it inside the ear, just to create that sort of inner ear look. I'm going to do a little swipe on this piece. It doesn't take a lot. And then, to complicate that eye just slightly, to give it a little more depth and character, I'm going to go with a smaller bit of the light, again, the light pink, just dragging it right across that glue, and I'm going to pop it into the eye like so. And I like that. I think that does something for us. Lastly, but not leastly, let's get that nostril. Very important. The nostril, the nose hole. I swiped a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put it up there as we know it should go. And yes, it took us a moment, a little bit of elbow grease, improvisation, and adaptation. But we must adapt, friends. As artists and humans in this world, we must adapt. Get good with improvisation and adaptation, and nothing but nothing can stop you. A Hippopotamus. We love you, hippopotamus, and we salute all 5,525 pounds of you. And though your temper may be a bit on the side of... Is he right behind me right now? Myron? He's there. I can't with this guy. Myron! There he goes. Okay, yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about, though. He'll just appear somewhere and just stare. So just stare totally still, not moving at all, and staring. And it creeps me out. I'm going to be honest. I hired his cousin, Stanley, who does a fantastic job holding the brush. He's great, but to be fair, he helped me find the scissors. He helped me find the scissors. He helped me with the scissors. He helped me find them. So all is forgiven. Breathe it out. Friends, remember to be patient with those that you share space with. So important in these times. So important all the time, but so important in these times. Patience with your friends and loved ones with whom you share space, location, habitat. Keep it in mind, right? Keep it in heart. Folks, as we navigate into Thursday, I've got to say I don't know what the creature will be. I don't know what tomorrow's creature is. I do know this. We tend to get a little weird on Thursdays here at the Daily Creature. So all I can tell you is expect the unexpected. Uncharted waters be these. Watch Fantasia. That's what I'd like to leave you with. Watch Fantasia. Because it's a hippopotamus must-watch. You haven't seen a hippo until you've seen a hippo in a tutu. And she dazzles and does not disappoint. So please watch Fantasia if you can. If you can find a way to do it, find Fantasia. And friends and neighbors, that'll be all. From Ix Art Park in Charlottesville, Virginia, I'm Jovina. This has been your Daily Creature. Do stay creative.